Hey, folks, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific, and I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're trying to figure out what to do with an extra day off, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
So many options. So many options. You probably just
Like
get some more
getting more work in.
Yeah. More yard work.
Yeah.
More home repairs. All those kind of things. Well, tonight we're going to talk about the TriCities GeoCoin Challenge.
Woo!
It's a mythical thing I've heard about and never seen in person. But we're going to see what we can learn about it. Live audience, some of you I know have experienced it, so tell us what you remember, what you're looking forward to, or any other memorable tidbits about the TriCities GeoCoin Challenge. But first, it's time to bring in our overheated howler monkey. It's getting long. Some say Wilfred Brimley is his spirit animal. And others say he gives away his dead batteries free of charge. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
My spirit animal leads me to oatmeal every time. It's all good. All right. Hey, good to be here Thursday night. And Mr. Wits End, we're gonna see if we can bust that myth for you this year.
Maybe.
All right. We'll see what we can do. But before we get into any and all of that, folks, it is time for that. I was going to say annual, but it's weekly. Quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And a shout out to one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. That's Landsharks, LANDSHARKZ. I always want to drop that R. And
What are you, a pirate?
I know, right?
No, he's from Boston. Land Sharks.
I've never been to Boston in the fall, but
I don't do anything.
Definitely check out LANDSHARKZ.ca for all your geocaching supply needs. They've got it all available online there. And don't forget about our other corporate Denali level sponsor. Well, that would be Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn more about the geotours, about the region. Plan your trip. Now is the time to be planning your trip up to Gold Country. And hey, don't forget to download the app. You find out all of that on exploregoldcountry.com. And folks, my caching friends, you also can support this podcast. If you want to know more about how to do that, well, click that Patreon link over there on the cachingnw.com website.
Yeah, thank you so very much.
Indeed.
And patrons, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We really do appreciate you guys. We hope to see you at some of these big events coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, it's time for the glow. You may ask, what is the glow?
What is the glow?
What is the glow?
Thank you. Thank you for asking. It's an interactive podcast. You all can join in. It's okay. The glow is the geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Now, you can send an email or you can send a recording from that there smartphone right in your hands. I know you're looking at it all the time. Why don't you talk to it? Well, I yell at mine, but that's completely different. You can send a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call in to 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
Yeah. Are you swiping things on that there smartphone, Land Monkey?
I was.
Yeah.
And now I have to put them all back after I swipe them.
Were you swiping the podcast?
Swipe or don't swipe.
Well, let's see. This week's glow came in from BC Rock Crawler via an email. It's a nice short but sweet glow. It says, I attended an event on Wednesday. The event was called Stranger in a Strange Land Event Cache. That's GC Alpha 1 Yankee Delta 1. And he said the log he sent him was from Revel Dogs. Said, it was a great event. I met some names that I could put faces to. Then I met the Geotick. What a treat. He told me to dine and dash, so off I went, leaving BC Rockcrawler to pick up the tab.
Well, I can see why that would be memorable.
That would be memorable for sure.
Oh, too funny.
See, it doesn't have to be a long glow. It just has to be something that, you might get a chuckle out of or enjoy the story.
So
yeah.
BC Rockcrawler is going to get the new glow badge for this year?
You better believe it.
Awesome.
We have a 2023 glow badge.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy.
Yes. Hey, folks, if you want to join in tonight's chat, trust me, you do, and you will, and you already are, right? So that's all 3 tenses right there. I'm so very tense.
Are you 2 tense?
Use, huh?
Are you 2 tense?
No, 3 tense.
Mm.
That's kind of like 3 sheets of the wind.
Oh, that's my goal for tonight.
Oh, good. Use the hashtag TriCities to bring up something for the chat in tonight's show. Of course, you can use the hashtag FATAS to bring up anything in the after show, anything you want. And use the dual hashtags, or the dueling hashtags in this case, of the hashtag podcast baking and hashtag podcast drinking to let us know what you're imbibing this evening. Imbibing.
Chowing,
That's
sipping,
my
guzzling,
buddy.
yeah.
Hmm?
Said chowing, sipping, guzzling,
Rudyard Sipling?
Sir.
Subway Mark seems to be on the move.
Ooh.
Says
Or
hello.
he's relaying a message from Victoria.
Oh, yeah.
In Australia?
Could be. He does get around a bit.
He does.
I don't know how he takes trains everywhere he goes, but he seems to.
Yeah.
Hey, we do have a couple of pieces of news I want to share.
Okay.
Starting with June 3rd.
Well, that's
Just
coming
a
up pretty
little-
soon.
A little over a week away.
Yeah.
Is the WSGA Summer Cookout. That's GC Alpha 90 Roger 5.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's
Sounds
Romeo
like fun.
5.
Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at Riverside Park in Renton. Come on by. You can get some free food. And you know what? Sign up to be a member of the WSGA because, that's what it's all about.
There you go. Is that it's the Puget Sound Chapter Summer Cookout? Is that an annual event?
Yes.
And does it kind of move around, or is it always in
Nope.
Renton?
Moves around.
Nice. Very cool. And so it's the idea is come out, learn a little bit more about the WSGA, and you don't have to volunteer, but
But every little bit helps. Many hands make light work.
Sounds good.
Indeed.
And I learned something.
what
Do
did you-
tell.
I thought the hokey pokey was what it's all about.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I sit corrected.
Yeah.
There's worse
That's what
ways
it's
to
all
say it.
about.
Yeah.
You
And,
said- yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was curious if you had more,
I do have more.
but wait, there's more.
Yes.
Now, how much would you pay?
If you're interested in let's say a brief introduction to geocaching, perhaps this is the first time you're listening to this here podcast and you happen to be in the Tacoma area on June 14th. That's a Wednesday. Come see me. I'll be at the Wheelock Branch Library doing a geocaching 101 course.
Ooh. Will you have any swag to give away if people come see you and they say,
you know,
I heard you on the podcast?
Ooh, I could be there. Yeah, I could have some swag for
could be
that.
fun. Yeah.
I've got permission to hide a couple of geocaches in the library just for the event. So that'll be kind of fun. When's the last time you went looking for something that wasn't in the card catalog?
When's the last time you used a card catalog?
Yeah.
Right.
That that reminds me, probably a FITAS, but on our recent trip, we did an adventure lab that was in a library that was actually really well done. Really enjoyed that. But
Nice.
story for another time.
Okay.
But awesome. So you are hosting a geocaching 101?
Yes. The librarian reached out to geocaching. So Rock Chalk, he passed it on to me. And, I couldn't say no when this is just a couple of blocks from my house.
Right.
Also, when you had a direct order from Rock Chalk.
Well, it wasn't a direct order. It was a request.
That should be good.
So I went in and talked to the research librarian and explained what geocaching was, and she's very excited.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Geocaching binary 5.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
And you guys.
For those of you that attended episode 500 live at the Blue Mouse Theater, the Wheelock Branch Library is just around the corner from there, really.
It really is.
Not far at all.
Very cool.
So
and for those of you that didn't attend, the Wheelock Library is still right around the corner from the Blue Mouse.
Regardless of whether you attended or not. The library doesn't move depending on it's not Schrodinger's library.
Nope. Truth is truth.
No, it's not a bookmobile. It's a building.
Too funny. All right.
All right. Well, hey, I heard about some other news.
Oh, do tell.
Yes. It was some good news because somebody was, okay, this is not the good part. Somebody was missing for 5 days. The good news is that he was found alive. He was in his vehicle at the bottom of a ravine. So he was miraculously rescued after being found alive at the bottom of a ravine. Bystanders spotted tire tracks leaving a road in Cowlitz County, as well as a small green truck at the bottom of the ravine. They called to report it as a possible accident. About 19 firefighters, it says, responded to the scene. The injured man's truck had left the roadway and traveled about 150 feet down a steep, heavily wooded ravine. So clearly he was seeking the cache. It's bushwhacking trail out.
And, just follow the arrow. It's the straightest path in.
Firefighters hiked down the hill through waist-deep brush, expecting the worst, but they found he was still alive, severely injured and ill, but alive. They set up a plan to safely get down to the patient, assess how he's doing, his injuries, and packaged him in a Stokes basket. I remember that from Fireman Johnny Gage. Emergency. They used the rope rescue team, and some of their techniques got him up safely, and hopefully he's on the mend soon. So,
wow, that's crazy. I did a quick Google Maps just to validate for myself where Cowlitz County is, because I can't often remember the names of your counties and such in Washington.
I can't often remember all of them either.
But it's right along the
County
Oregon
and Owlitz County.
Yeah,
Cowlitz County.
Yes. All right. So for those of us who are not familiar with Washington geography, it is along the it's between Portland and then Vancouver, Washington, and Astoria along the river there. And then it sort of stretches over to Mount St. Helens.
So we could say the southwest corner of the state.
Yes.
Yeah. So, folks, have some emergency preparations in your car, right? We don't know what happened. He could have had a medical incident before going off the road, or could have been distracted. Who knows, right? There's a myriad of reasons of what could have happened, but he was able to survive for 5 days before he was rescued. So, you know what? Have some emergency preparation in your car: blanket, water, food.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a signaling device of some sort.
And I mean, we don't know the story of necessarily why he was. I mean, we joke that he was looking for a geocache, but we don't know why he was on the drive. So, if he was, or if you're in a scenario such as you're heading out somewhere, leave a trip plan, and then it might not take 5 days for someone to notice you're missing.
Yeah. If I were missing on a Friday, people may not notice until Thursday.
Yeah. I doubt that. Yeah,
Heather says she doesn't see the mentioned event in Tacoma on the map. No, it's not an official geocaching event. I thought about making it an official geocaching event, and I thought that might distract from the geocaching 101 teaching aspect of it.
Interesting.
What do you guys
thought about
think?
it
Do you
from
think
that
I should
angle.
make it an official event? There's still time.
What if you made it an official event towards the end of the scheduled time for your thing? So you could do your 101 with newbies and then
And geocachers never show up early for
no,
events.
so they'll just
No.
roll in right as your class
Exactly
ends.
on the stroke of
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. You know what? I'm going to go talk to the librarian and find out.
There you go.
Well, and another consideration, Chris, is I don't know if there's a capacity constraint for the space that you're in at the library. So it may be they only have so many seats. So yeah, it would be a shame to use up seats potentially used by people brand new to the game,
Right.
by experts who would very much like to have another event under their belt and see you.
On the other hand,
Yeah,
that would be this
fingers.
one, because I started with this one because I'm left-handed. So on the other hand, sorry, I just had to go there. It might be nice to have more experienced geocachers to break out and have one-on-one or, small group sessions to be able to say, hey, come on, let's go find this.
You could use the
However,
buddy system.
there you go. Some of those experienced geocachers might be a little more competitive than is good for a teaching session.
Yeah, there's pluses and minuses, but yeah, let us know what you decide to do.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Heather just, guilted me into it here. Similar events in the Portland area have been on the map. That way we can invite our curious friends.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. Just on the note of travel, I see Megan shared a really good point here, saying that since she caches solo now, I try to let people know where I'm going, and good for you. That's awesome. That's important.
That really is. Just be safe, please. We like you people and we want to see you again.
Yeah. And not at the bottom of a ravine.
Indeed.
Exactly.
All right.
What Coaster says, worried about the hecklers in the crowd for the 101 training?
Come on. If Chris
Maybe.
can handle Jim and I every week, I think he can handle some heckling.
Pshaw.
Hey, the story there, and I don't mean to make light of the situation. I'm glad that he's doing well and all, but when I was reading it, and it said that about 19 firefighters responded to the scene, it just triggered a memory. Years ago, my sister was in a car accident. She lives in California, so she wasn't here, but I get this phone call from her at an odd time, and the first thing I say when she says when I answer the phone, she goes, "I'm okay," and I think, okay. She says, "I was in a car accident, but I'm okay." I said, "Okay," and then I knew she was okay because she said, "And the firemen that responded were really cute." So
not only am I okay, I'm actually pretty good. That's funny. Well, I'm glad your sister was okay. And surrounded by cute firemen.
That's right.
Her words, not mine.
That's right. Yeah. I was not there. I cannot vouch
For the cuteness of the
said fireman. Yes, but I trust her evaluation. So
I'm sure she has excellent judgment. I mean, look who she picked as a brother.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I've known her entire life.
There you go.
She can't say the same about me.
Ah, there you go. All right, guys. Well, should we jump into our topic du jour?
Ooh, du jour. So very French.
It is. Hey, correct me if I'm incorrect on this statement that I am about to make, but Washington State has 2 annually recurring, asterisk COVID, annually recurring mega events. I think there's 2, right? There's Going Ape towards, well, I was going to say towards the north, but it really isn't. Kind of in the middle of the state.
Middle of the state, yeah.
and then a little further east is the TriCities GeoCoin Challenge mega event. There isn't another recurring mega, is there?
Well, when there was block parties or annual HQ celebrations, we could count those. But
right.
And there is some conversation about whether the Ape Cache will continue to be a annual event or biannual, but still, yes.
Event, yeah.
Regularly occurring mega events.
Perfect.
I think those are the only 2 that are still active.
That's awesome. I think we all love the opportunity to get to a mega, but maybe not everybody has. I did notice there's an a handful of people earlier on in the chat commenting that they had not been to the Tri-Cities or had maybe only been once.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly have lost track of how many times we've been. We started years ago, quite a bit before COVID, and just really enjoyed it and kept coming back. And then we're sad to miss it during COVID, and then delighted to be back again last year. So really excited to come in and do this year. And so, what we're talking about is Saturday, June 24th, coming up pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Starts at 8 a.m. It is the Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge, the 2023 edition. It is a mega event, so unique icon there. And if you're curious to check out the GC code, it is GC Alpha 307
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
West.
Thank you.
West.
You'd think I would remember whiskey. All right.
Depends how much you've had.
But that's the GC code. It is one of my favorite things to do in the Northwest every year. Try not to miss it if I can avoid missing it. And it kind of moves around a little bit. For quite a number of years, it was in the Sacagawea State Park.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been moving around a little bit. And this year it is at the John Dam Plaza. And if you're not sure where that is, well, just look up the GC code and you'll get the coordinates.
It's kind of right in the center of Richland there.
Yes,
right
park in
downtown
Richland.
Okay. So it is, Jim, why don't you describe what the event is?
Describe the event I've never been to.
Yes, please.
How's the feeling when you go to this?
Yeah.
We'll
No,
find
but
out when I get there.
there is a description provided from
Yes, there is. Yes, there
the
is.
event.
It is, by the way, free, if anybody wondered, and a family-friendly event, which most geocaching is. I think all geocaching should be, if it's not. So it's good for new geocachers, good for experienced geocachers, good for all geocachers. You can spend the day geocaching around the Tri-Cities, all 4 of them. If you complete the challenge, you'll receive a free Tri-Cities GeoCoin. And, I'm not a coin chaser per se. I like them. Let's say, oh, that's nice. The Tri-Cities GeoCoins from this event historically have just been off the charts. Amazing. And I've heard rumors about this year's coin. I've not seen it, but I hear it's also another quite amazing coin. So kids and teens who are 17 and under who complete the kids passport will receive a trackable version of the event coin. And so it's going to be a great event. We mentioned kids and teens. There's an adult challenge and a kid teen challenge. The adult challenge is a combination of adventure labs and regular geocaches. And the kid challenge is just 8 regular geocaches.
I always like, there's this year's design. I always like to say, Tri-Cities GeoCoin Challenge, come for the coin, stay for the company.
There you go.
But yeah, it's a unique design every year, and they have done some amazing things. One year there was a set of 4 coins with sort of a dinosaur or prehistoric theme across them. A couple just before COVID, it was like a model of an atom that was suspended off of. Yeah, that's the one right there. Chris has that.
Chris has it. Which, of course, there's a lot of history here in the area from Hanford.
Yes.
Nuclear history. So that was a nod to that.
This by far has been my favorite coin. Now, I have to say, I didn't get the one. Coin sculpture, really.
Yeah.
I didn't get the one that was Goonie inspired, where it had, the eyepieces that you inserted along the top of the coin to sight to the final.
Yeah, we have that one. That's fun.
Mm-hmm. There's been Taste of the
Tri-Cities. You were there
Tri-Cities.
for that one with us.
No.
Isn't that the one where you dump the ice down my shirt?
Well, I'm sure I've done that multiple times.
I was going to say, which time?
Different event. Okay.
The Taste of the Tri-Cities, it was like a food tray with a magnetic knife, fork, and spoon, kind of in a steampunk. So they have done some incredible things. Last year it was, or year before, was the cross type, the kind of a diorama of each city.
think that might have been last year.
Was that last year or 2 years ago? I don't recall.
Yeah. And so often it is something that, I mean, coin is such an understatement for what
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
what you can earn by going to this event. And geocaching is free. Like you will earn the coin and you will pay for it in gasoline or electricity if you drive an EV. But it is it's definitely worth going and experiencing. And Jen and the team there put on a fun event, and we'll get into more details shortly. But I always rave about the TriCities GeoCoin
Mhm.
Challenge. It's a lot of fun. And this year, Wits End, we're going to drag you around for it.
Yeah. Every year I've had conflicts, as I have mentioned. ARRL, the Ham Radio League, has field day that's always the last weekend in June, as is this TriCities Coin event. So he's going to be playing ham radio that weekend. I have done that in years past, different times. I've had other things come up that conflicted with it. But this year, not only am I available, I now live in the Tri-Cities. For those of you that might have missed that memo, I moved here last summer, just after last year's event. So it's funny. I think I was in the Tri-Cities every weekend of June last year, except that one, because I was coming over and moving things and finding a place to live and all that kind of stuff. And there was just no way with all selling a house and moving that was going to happen. But so now I'm here. And I'm looking forward to having y'all come over and visit my little neck of the woods now.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
And we'll talk some more about Tri-Cities and maybe any pro tips you have for people who haven't visited before, Jim.
I'm still pretty new here, but I'll do my best.
Okay.
I can tell you how much it's changed.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris lived here before I did. So
So for those who might not know, inside joke from the podcast, Jim and I love to give Chris a hard time because it might have only been one time, but it feels like every time we've been in the Tri-Cities with you, Chris, it's, oh, well, that didn't used to be here, or this road didn't used to go through.
right.
And so it's a lot of fun. You know how it is when you go back to a community you lived in a long time. We all know how that is, but we just love to tease Chris.
Chris lived here in the early 90s, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Before Bombing Range Road went all the way through.
That was GeoWash Way that they've added onto that didn't used to connect out the way it does. So anyway,
okay.
Bombing Range Road is where my church was. So it was, just
I
one
knew
of
there
those
was something
fun things
special
to
about
say.
that
Yeah.
road besides its cool name.
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
So
Megan says
yes.
she can't wait. I love coming down and being around my geo peeps that I don't get to see very often and get some coinage.
That's right. And cool coinage.
Chris, can you address Dora Moore's comment that came right after that?
No.
I was
Or
just going to
question?
say, yeah.
Okay, so let me be absolutely honest with you. Dora Moore and I Ham apparently are all in the same boat. I'm on vacation that week. We're going to be, busy. So I'm going to have to come the week after, which would be, the weekend before 4th of July. So Dora Moore wants to know, is it possible to get the coin if you go down a week or two after the event to do the caches? In the past, yes. So in theory, there's X number of coins. Well, not in theory. In practice, there's X number of coins made. And it depends on the number of people who complete the event or complete the course, complete
all the caches in it.
Yeah.
all the caches. Thank you. The passport and get the coins. So it's first come, first serve. Yes, there's a very good chance you can still get coins.
I
know I
want to
was-
throw a caveat on that though, because in the last year and this year, and I don't know if it was previous to that, but they used to basically just say, make sure you log a will attend. It's 1 coin per family or per household, I should say.
Per household, yeah.
And they would order a bunch and they kind of had a sense of how many people come. But what they've started doing, and I think it's the smart thing they do, but what they've started doing is you actually register on a Richland Parks and Rec website
Mm-hmm.
that you are coming and say that you are planning to collect a coin for your household, and they use that to plan the number to order. So I want to be
Well-
cautious in encouraging people that they might be able to come later and get a
Yeah.
coin, because I'm not
Right.
sure how plausible that is anymore.
Yeah, there usually are extras. We cannot guarantee that there will be extras, but
Yeah.
I know I was talking to one of the local organizers for the event, and he told me that, because I told him, well, gosh, I just moved here and I still have never done that. He said, we still have coins from last year. So just as of a couple of weeks ago when I talked to him, he said there's still some coins from last year that if you came and completed that. So if you theoretically could do 2 challenges in one weekend and earn 2 coins. I can't guarantee that, but
Right.
There you go.
Breiling says, I think every year I attend, they have leftover coins after the main event. And go to the website. I'm sorry, go to the listing, the description, and it's going to tell you where to get the coins after the main event, right? After the day, after the event is over. It's still going to tell you, oh, you go to
Richlands Park office or something.
yeah, it's
yes,
Parks and Rec in
exactly.
Richland.
And in fact, I'm going to have to go read now to find out, because Richland Community Center, well, June 25th after 2 p.m. call for current hours, and then others. So yeah, the information's there to find. And of course, Jen and her team are incredible. You can just reach out to them via the cache listing, contact them, and they're going to respond.
There's some
There's also a phone number to call.
great volunteers in here. And that, the event is listed at 8 a.m. It's listed from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The event is listed all day long. And I know when I was reading through the description a while back, it said, you know this, you can pick up your coins from, I think it was 3 p.m. on day of event. And they said, please don't show up before 3 p.m. If you've finished all of the geocaches, go find more.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
There's lots to
geocache some
find.
more. Yeah. There's some great geocaches here.
And I mean, this is the thing that, and not to steal too much thunder from Jim, but one of the things that I do really enjoy about going caching in that area is there's a few things. First of all, there will be previous years GeoCoin challenge caches around still, and some of them are gadget caches, some of them are just neat caches in nice areas, and so they're, they don't keep all of them, but there are some that remain as a bit of a legacy. But the other thing is that, like, whatever type of caching you're into, you don't have to drive far. So we've been down, and we often go down for a long weekend, make a long weekend out of it, and just spend an extra day in the area. If you want to go chase power trails, there's tons of power trails out on the farm roads. If you're just looking to bump up your numbers, absolutely, that's fun. You can do that. If you want to do adventure labs that take you to different unique places throughout all 4 Tri-Cities, you can do that as well. If you like, you know what, I don't really want to caching, but I want to go just hang out in a brew pub until I can pick up my coin. Lots of great options as well. So, almost anything and family friendly stuff too. There's quite a bit in the Tri-Cities. So, almost anything you're into, you'll be able to find ways to enjoy your visit. But again, I don't want to steal too much of your thunder there, Jim.
No, that's fine. You actually have more caching experience here than I do.
So far.
I live here now, but it's not even been a full year yet, and a lot of that time has been adjusting to new jobs, buying a house, moving furniture, setting. So I have not had a lot of free time to go geocaching, but I have done. You mentioned adventure labs. My wife, I love her, but she's not a huge geocaching fan. She likes it, okay, but it's not her first choice of activity. But we learned when we moved here last summer that she is really a fan of adventure labs, and we did several because it was something we could do together, and it helped us find places here in the town that we just moved to. So that was fun.
There you go. Now, I have done the Tri-Cities multiple years with different groups of people caching at different speeds, right? I've gone with, the land monkeys of this world that has to get them all done within 25 minutes of launch.
That's a little
30 minutes
exaggeration. Thank you.
Okay. And others that we went at a very leisurely pace and still completed well before sunset. So it's very easy to get done in a day.
Yeah.
And if you stay there for a day, or you come early, you stay late, you could probably get in a previous year or whatever type of caches you want to get. If you want to get those adventure labs, they had several. They had a couple of years where it was all adventure lab.
Mhm.
During
Post-COVID.
COVID, because we didn't know any better and thought if you didn't touch anything, then you stayed healthy. Apparently it was our TV that made us sick. Anyway, you guys are awfully quiet on that one. Okay, never mind. So there are different types. I know there's a trail of Where I Goes. I believe there's a trail of Mysteries.
Trail of letterboxes. I know that.
I'm sorry, letterboxes. That's what I meant to say instead of Where I Goes. I apologize. Yes.
So there's there's also some bookending events as well to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe what we can do is just break down the day of Saturday. We can certainly look through the schedule they've provided, but also speak from, Jim, Chris, and I can speak from experience.
Yes.
Of how a usual day goes, because it's not like all mega events. It is a GeoCoin challenge, so it is about getting out throughout the communities and finding Adventure Lab and geocaches and Adventure Lab stops. That is the goal, because what happens is around 8 a.m. There's usually food trucks to pick up breakfast, unless you have your breakfast before you get there. And then around 9 a.m. they'll sometime between 8 and 9 there'll be a few speeches. One of my favorites is they often get a local sheriff or community relations officer from the local police, who is a very entertaining speaker, who reminds us all that we are there to be safe and have fun.
Yeah.
And that he and his officers don't particularly want to be pulling us over for speeding. So,
but they're not opposed to either.
Yeah, traffic laws
they're not
do still
opposed to
apply.
pulling us over. Yeah, and reminders about parking and things like that. So I think it's really good. It's things that we need to be reminded of, because in our excitement sometimes we forget. But that's a lot of fun. So there's a few speakers, and then there's a group photo, usually done by drone, because you got 300-400 people there.
It's so much better than trying to stabilize a ladder out in a field somewhere, right?
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always a lot of fun. And then as soon as the group photo is taken, the passports are distributed, and you are on your way.
And the caches are posted.
And the caches are published, at the same time as the passports are distributed.
Let's say a quick thank you to all the volunteers that helped to get that done, the volunteer reviewers, who are there clicking away. I don't know if you can schedule those to be released at a certain time, or do they have to manually go?
I've heard a rumor those can be scheduled, but you can't schedule Adventure Labs to be published by reviewers. So that's
apparently we don't. We don't know anybody who can answer that. No, there's no reviewers around.
Oh well,
just asking a reviewer if a reviewer has any information, but the reviewers.
No reviews anywhere.
Okay. Anyway,
nothing to see here. Move along.
That's right.
So, so at that point, when everything goes live, as Chris was saying, about 9:30 a.m. in the morning, everything goes live, and at that point, everybody disperses and heads off, and whatever route you're going to take. And I think one of the fun things is, so really for the rest of the middle part of the day, you're just out exploring the Tri-Cities area, finding the geocaches, finding the Adventure Lab stops, but you will continually bump into other cachers. And then sometimes you'll find people are taking the same route as you. Sometimes you'll find you're crossing paths with somebody else. And it's just fun, right? It's not competitive, because everybody's going to get a coin. So it's, there'll be a handful of people who want to be first, whatever. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And so that takes us to, as Jim was saying, 3:00.
Well, let's back up. Don't forget to use Cache Tour.
Beep, beep, beep.
Back it up. put all the
My daddy taught me
geocaches that
good.
are published into a list. You can pull that into Cache Tour and make a nice little trip plan for yourself.
There you go.
If you want to take that amount of time, yes.
It
or
doesn't take
or
that
you-
long.
or
If you know,
you take the
Yeah.
the paper copy of the passport, and you go, okay, we're gonna start here. We're gonna work our way through these ones. Okay, let's go.
My favorite way to do it is to just let somebody else drive and just get out of the back seat when we get there and sign the log.
Sounds like a good idea.
And if I don't get them all, I live here, so I got time.
you can go back the next day.
I was going to say, I'll come back the next weekend when Chris comes out and look for
All right.
more then.
I'm a little more competitive than that.
But it's not a race.
It's not. I'm competitive with myself. I want to make sure I get them all. But I also want to enjoy seeing the things. And Komakino says it sounds like a cash machine, but you get a cool coin. Yeah, somewhat. I think that's probably a good comparison. It's like a combination. It's one mega event that bookends a day of caching. So it's kind of fun from that perspective. It's a lot of fun, actually.
So when you arrive, well, at after the speeches and that, they're going to hand out the adult passports. Okay. Now, this is family friendly. It's not that kind of an adult passport. However, it's a combination of Adventure Labs and regular geocaches. Now, there's also one for the kids. There's 8 regular geocaches for the kids to go find that are completely separate, right? They're not going to get run over by the land monkeys looking to get there quickly and pushing the little kids out of their way.
As I am wont to do.
Yeah.
Well, as long as the little kids don't get in my way, they won't get pushed out of the way. It's quite simple, really.
That's
Remember, kids, box out. Keep those elbows flying.
That's right.
That's right.
So those passports actually are going to be available Saturday, the 24th at 9:30 a.m. So 9:30 a.m. you can go after they've had the speeches. They're going to have a table out there, and suddenly the passports appear, and you can go get them. I like that they do something special for the kids, separate from
That is a good
chasing
idea.
around in the back of the station wagon all day with mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea. I think over the years we've really seen the TriCities GeoCoin Challenge mature, because every year they try a little something different, and if something really works, they stick with it. And if it didn't work, like, okay, let's try something different. So it's that kind of continual service improvement approach that I quite like. But they do it really well, and it is a lot of fun. What did Megan say here? She says, last year my group, and I'm sure others, got the kids one as well for extra smileys. Oh, okay, so yeah, went out and found the kids ones as well as the.
They're usually close by where you pick up the coin. So once you've found them all, you can just wander through there, pick them up, and I've done
If you're
them
there
as well.
before 3, you could do those while you're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. And so, how many caches do you have to find? Great question. Great question. So
I want to say it's typically about 20,
it's usually
20,
8?
24.
yeah.
Oh,
8,
yeah, 8 per city. That's right, 32.
32.
That's it.
So, and it'll be some combination of geocaches and Adventure Labs. Every year they kind of switch up what the ratio looks like. So we won't know until it goes live what the ratio will actually look like. But I would expect, it'll probably lean more towards caches and less towards Adventure Labs, because as Chris said, in the COVID year that they had the event, it was entirely Adventure Labs.
Right.
And now it's kind of been keeping those in, but backing them out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, actually, this is another point. They last year they had a set of Adventure Labs that were actually at the event site, but each one was a puzzle, and you had a set of sheets, and you had to work through each Adventure Lab puzzle to get your code word. And then once you had that, you move on to the next one. And so once you had all of them, then that I can't remember what that qualified you for, but
I guess it was 2 years ago when it was all Adventure Labs, they all
Right.
started there at John Dam Plaza. So there were 4 Adventure Labs right there, and then each one then took you off to the starting point was at the plaza, and each one took you off into the individual city.
Okay. They didn't do that last year, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
IHAM says we did all the current year and a few from the previous years, the one time we did make it over there. So there's plenty of time to go get the ones you want. I've skipped lunch. I've eaten lunch at a sit-down restaurant with different people. Like I say, I've done, a couple of rotations of this. There's plenty of time to get everything you need.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very achievable from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once you spend your day out with your friends, driving around and finding geocaches and Adventure Labs, as Jim said, by 3 p.m. you can return to John Dam Plaza. I mean, you can return there earlier, but just don't go up to the table asking for your coin until 3 p.m. Please. But from 3 till 7 on Saturday, they will have the coin pickup available. And then if you were running late or you just ended up out with friends for the evening and forgot to come and pick up your coin, Sunday morning from 9 till noon, you can still go back to John Dam Plaza on Sunday, June 25th, and also have coin pickup then. So that's cool that they do that.
It's easy, like Sunday morning.
There you go.
Something that Land Monkey touched on earlier. Okay, so log a will attend for this event. Okay, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not going, log that will attend, because the will attend and the registration on the Richland Parks and Rec website combine to make sure they get a proper count for the coins, because guess what? Cities are paying for this, right? Cities are paying for the coins, and they want to know who's come. Did you stay the night? Did you buy food? Are you buying gas? Whatever. They want to know what money was spent where. So that's really important. And that's not, a lot of critical information. Fill that out. It helps to keep this great event coming to us year after year. So please just take that extra moment. Well, in fact, if you want a coin, you have to do that.
Yeah. And that, again, like Chris said, that's really important for the longevity of this mega event, because that's how Jen and the planning team can ensure that they get funding for the subsequent year, so that you, good geocacher, can get an uber cool free coin.
Mm-hmm. So geocaching is free, just, not for other people. Free to us, right? Well, kind of.
So
okay,
do we want to talk about the lead up events and such?
Yeah. So, I would love to talk about the event that's going to happen on Thursday before, but there's no details on it yet.
Right.
I've had a crack research team studying this, and there's no details as of yet. So
research department, the call is out. What's going on Thursday in TriCities?
Yeah. And we were trying to get in touch with some of the local organizers, but schedules didn't work out for tonight.
Yeah. And there's still time. In fact, that may be a great opportunity to, go somewhere you could sit and listen to the podcast, right? While there's a big event going on around you Thursday night. Of course, what else is going to happen? The internet's going to crash. So you may as well just sit here and listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Or, sit in your car and listen to the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, Friday night, we know there's things going on.
Okay.
There are. Yep.
Such as
cash in, weed out. Yeah, I know.
Well, it is the Northwest.
I kind of Googled that one, or giggled on that one myself, right?
Yeah. Now just note that that's not Friday night. That's 8 a.m. Friday.
Oh, sorry. That's 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So that is GC Alpha 6 Echo Yankee Bravo.
Right.
It's
they're doing some cleanup of the trails. I think it's on Badger Mountain. And so pulling some weeds and that kind of thing. And friends of Badger and Benton Parks.
At least one good earth cache up Badger Mountain. So
at least one? Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm trying to think how many, because I think there's a couple, but I've done them in different years. So
yeah, if you're coming in and making it a long weekend and you're here Friday morning, go check out the Cito for pulling some weeds there.
There you go. And in the evening, there's another event. I think it starts at 6 p.m. I can't remember for sure, but it's a meet and greet.
It is 6
But it's
p.m.,
also
yes.
a Maker Magic event. So
Yeah, we just talked about that last week.
we did. So if you don't have any Maker Magic events that are scheduled in your neck of the woods, but you plan to be at the TriCities Friday night, you can still get that Maker Magic souvenir. So
Special souvenir. You know what? You're going to be there anyway. Go to the event, get that special souvenir. You're going to love it.
indeed.
Then we start off Saturday. Saturday, of course, is the mega event. Starts at 8 a.m. with breakfast. There are food trucks there. The Tumbleweed food truck. Come on. TriCities, Tumbleweeds.
crunchy.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds crunchy.
Along with coffee. Apparently the Tumbleweeds food truck is breakfast burritos.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. 9 a.m. is the group and welcome photo. The welcome in the group photo. Maybe that's the way you should put it.
The photo and the group welcome.
Hello, group. Welcome.
Yeah.
Click.
We can mix it up however we want.
Yeah. The photo welcome to the group.
Sure.
9:30 starts the Adventure Labs and geocaches when they go live.
Yeah, and as Monkey mentioned, and we all mentioned, 3 p.m. You can pick up your coin anytime after 3 p.m. up till 7 p.m. And then if you miss it, you can come back in the morning. And there's also, more food trucks. Tumbleweeds food trucks, gourmet doggy style food trucks. Not sure what that's all about, but
It's got to be hot dogs, right? Let's just say hot dogs.
I've rarely found a food
This
truck I didn't
event's just killing me this year.
So
We got the cash in, weed out, and gourmet doggy style.
Yeah.
All right.
apparently
Sounds
it's
like a good time.
You have to get on your hands and knees and eat out of a bowl on the ground or something. I don't know. I don't know
They throw
about that.
food on the ground, you're going to eat it.
But I know that there are some awesome food trucks. There's one food truck I've eaten at near where I work that's awesome. The food is really good there. So food trucks are kind of where it's at.
Yeah.
You know, this
absolutely.
is a family-friendly podcast. Is
all right.
Pete's
All
mentioned.
right. Message
We
received.
can't help it that the, topics that are brought up are, a little bit risque and questionable sometimes. Okay.
I didn't name the events or the food trucks, so just saying. Yeah, Komikino says
Homokino
adult
says, adult
passes,
passes, doggy style, count me in.
yeah. Nicely played.
Oh,
All right.
he loves animals.
Yeah, there you go. We know that. But yeah, so I think that is most of the stuff. Maybe before we wrap up, though, Jim, if anybody hasn't been to the Tri-Cities or hasn't been for maybe a number of years and the roads have changed,
I've heard, yeah.
yeah. Any key advice of wisdom as to like the best routes, like highway wise and such, of getting in?
Well, obviously that depends on where you're coming from.
Okay.
But I was going to say if anybody's not familiar with the Tri-Cities, and a lot of people in the chat are, but maybe some people are new. If you're looking at a map of Washington State, we're only 30 miles from the Oregon-Washington border. And if you look at the map, the bottom border of Washington, starting over on the east side at Idaho, is a straight line, and then all of a sudden it starts to curve. Right at that curve is where the Tri-Cities is. So it's easy to find, even if you have just a old children's wooden puzzle with a cutout of Washington. That's right there. And the reason for that, the mighty Columbia River that starts way up in Canada, I believe.
BC,
right?
yeah.
Comes down through the state, Grand Coulee Dam. We talked about some great caching up there recently. It comes right down through the middle of the state, through Vantage, past George, and all that. And here at the Tri-Cities is also the Tri-Rivers. The Yakima River comes in from the west, and the Snake River comes in from the east. Yes, it's the same Snake River that Evel Knievel attempted to jump all those many years ago, but not here. He was Idaho, I think. Anyway,
I know.
So Tri-Cities, Tri-Rivers. They all converge right here. So that's where to find it on a map. The easiest, probably biggest highway, if you're coming from the west side, Seattle-Tacoma area, is coming right over Snoqualmie Pass. You can also come over Chinook Pass. I hear it's going to be open just by this by this. They're opening it tomorrow, I think, for the holiday weekend. So I finally plowed through that. My son came over and visited last week, came over White Pass and a little farther south. All of those will converge at Yakima and just keep coming down Highway 82 from Yakima right down into the Tri-Cities. If you're coming from Portland, you can come in along Highway 84 along the gorge. And the reason that border of Washington is all squiggly is because that's the Columbia River's path, and it flows right out to the Pacific Ocean there past Astoria and everything.
That's the mighty Columbia.
The mighty Columbia.
What if you're coming down from Spokane? Did you cover that, or did I miss that?
I didn't. You can probably, I think it's 390. I forget the exact highway number. I think it's 395. But it comes down from Spokane down through Ritzville and there. It's a nice, pretty drive. If you're coming in from like Quads in the Muds over in Lewiston area, coming in that way. So you're coming in, I think it's Highway 12, coming in through Walla Walla from to the east. And maybe you're coming up from Pendleton, Umatilla, Oregon. You're coming up also 395 from the south and hit Kennewick first there.
There you go. Megan confirms it is the 395.
Yeah. So I worked just off the 395. I thought it was still, it didn't change numbers. Some of these highways in here are, well, it's the 82, but it's also Highway 12, and it's also,
Yeah, they merged together and then split off again.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it's still 395 at that point, but yeah, you come in right in, and we hit on it briefly. There are 4 Tri-Cities, yes. Pasco was the first city founded, followed by Kennewick and Richland, and then at some point, part of Richland decided to do their own thing and become West Richland, and there are other smaller communities that are kind of part of the Tri-Cities region. You got Burbank and Benton City and stuff,
and they just keep spreading out, don't they?
Findlay and all that. But the main Tri-Cities, Kennewick, Pasco, Richland.
Mm-hmm. And you'll find as you're going out and doing these caches, you'll weave in and out of the different cities, across the border and from Richland to Kennewick to Pasco,
Kennewick,
Richland and back.
Kennewick and Richland share a land border, so you can go back and forth just in the course of a few blocks a couple of times. Pasco sits on the north side of the Columbia River, so there are 3 main bridges that cross over one into Richland and 2 into Kennewick. So it's harder to accidentally get in and out of Pasco over that way, unless you're on a boat, I guess. But yeah.
And West Richland as well
right.
Obviously the west of Richland.
The west of Richland connected there. So and like many parts of both of our countries, it'll be summertime, therefore it will be highway construction season. You can guarantee that there'll be something somewhere that's closed, detoured or something, but take it all in stride and have fun.
Speaking of loud vehicles, last year when we were at the Tri-Cities area, they were also having the hydrofoil boat races.
Yes, the hydro races is the last weekend in July. So if you're coming for this event on the last weekend of June, you'll be a month early. But if you
last year, I think they must have been having some sort of like qualifiers or something.
Oh,
Didn't
that could be.
Reschedule it.
That could be
last year. I mean, the geocaching event, wasn't it? Was it that year or 2 years ago? They had canceled it and to reschedule it and had to pick a different weekend than they normally do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really fun. And like I said, I moved here just after the GeoCoin challenge last year, but I was here for the hydro races. So I saw a little bit of that. And they also have an air show, like the Red Bull stunt plane and an old P-51 Mustang, and doing some aerobatics and stuff over the river. Really fun. And being a nerd, I followed a lot of their tracks on Flight Radar 24 kind of websites because I'm a nerd. But yeah. So yeah, there's lots of ways to get here. It's not like Rome where all roads lead here, but there are quite a few. 82 down through Yakima is the primary one. If you continue over to Vantage and come down along the river, there's a pretty road down Highway 240 past the Hanford Nuclear Base and all that.
Yep.
Lots of options.
You know, just
go ahead, Chris.
a couple episodes ago in episode 509, which happens to be the area code for all of Eastern Washington,
That's right.
we talked with Kid Vegas 19 about some of the great things to see in Eastern Washington. So go back and listen to that one. See if you want to change your route and spend a little extra time exploring Eastern
I was going to
Washington.
say, extend your visit here and catch some other Eastern Washington geocaching. There's lots of stuff to see, including, of course, the WSGA geo tours that Glenn Monkey's probably going to wrap up pretty soon.
Well, that's I wanted to mention those as well as we close out here, because it's something else that is a fun challenge to challenge yourself to, and you can earn a souvenir for sure by tackling the what's the WSGA chapter in the Tri-Cities area? What's that called?
That would be the Southwest.
Southwest
South-
chapter.
Southwest or
South
Southwest.
Central?
South Central.
Yeah. Anyhow, you'll find them. Look at GeoTours on your app or on the website, and you'll find them. And so, I mean, if you've been following my my YouTube channel, you know that we've been working our way through them, and I've got another video coming out soon. But that's going to be part of the agenda for us. Is chipping away at those GeoTours as well. So it's something else you can consider, especially if you're making a road trip to get to the Tri-Cities for the event. Well, you can probably knock off a bunch of the GeoTour caches on the way.
Yeah.
That's right. 20 caches in each chapter, each of the 7 chapters of the Washington State Geocaching Association in the state of Washington. So that's 140 caches. You get 3 of those chapters done, you get a coin. You get all 7 of those chapters done, you get another coin.
I have the first coin.
So there you go. Wet Coaster wants to know, are the mountain passes free of snow yet?
The ones you would need to take to get there? Yes.
Like I said, I just saw this week that Chinook Pass is almost plowed. They're just opening it this weekend for the first time this year. But
I was going to say Highway 2 to the north probably isn't yet.
Stevens Pass no, I think I met some friends in Leavenworth a couple of weeks ago that came over Highway 2.
There you go.
Highway
Brian
20
says
is
Highway
open.
20 is open.
I can tell you that White Pass Highway 12 is open because my son came last weekend and visited. So lots of options. Yes, most likely the pass that you will most likely need is open.
Yeah. And just on the topic of the Geo Tour, Megan says there's somewhat of a loop for the South Central Geo Tour chapter.
Are we all loopy? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think that's what she's getting at.
Okay.
Everybody's a little loopy.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you for staying with us, not being so loopy, to stay with us for this episode of Caching in the Northwest. We hope you enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And we want to take a moment to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They are shipping those orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out the geotours at exploregoldcountry.com. And a very special thank you to all of our patron family who have at the Denali level, but at all levels, who support this podcast each and every week. We want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. So that would be Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. And folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast show, well, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Like geocaches did.
And someone who said he'd be here for the challenge, Winos Seattle,
Rawr 285,
Seebeck Tribe,
Whidbey Island Gal,
Peach of Washington,
Just Carlo,
Green Words,
Korsgott,
GeoNav Pro,
Limax,
Subway Mark,
Logwork,
Hackerdoc,
Boomer 365,
Broncos fan for life,
J-Car,
Team Noltex,
You Talks to Rocks,
Genies,
Trexer,
Kitty Quest,
Antaeus,
Ari 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Kev MacD,
Flagman,
MC3 Cats,
Segehove,
Udac,
Terrible lunch, great geocacher, gas station tuna.
Just finding our way.
LG 9000.
I love that. That was good. If you're a spilly drinker, you'll have a wet coaster.
Hey, we just mentioned him, Kid Vegas 19.
And contributing a glow tonight, BC Rock Crawler.
And the proud mama of the glow, Dora Moore.
Skyhawker.
GSM ×2.
Al Robrick.
Our newest patron, M-Nerve.
Busy that weekend, but still in the chat. Camp Clan.
That name really hit an M nerve, eh? Also, B Pendragon.
And CRS 98. So thank you so much, folks. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. Now, if you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. In either case, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe and give us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. You can also call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, help us with sunscreen and water because it's going to be hot out there any time of the day or night. And of course, you can leave us an email at feedback@cachingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and even livelier chat. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2023 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The after show.
I had to speed up because I knew it was coming. Or maybe the caffeine's just kicking in right now.
Well done, Chris. Well done. All right. Well, we got a handful of Fatasises here.
Did we mention Komakino hasn't been to the TriCities yet?
Is he coming this year?
He better.
Well, I hope so.
And Seebeck Tribe has only been once.
Is she coming this year?
She better. I don't know. What am I supposed to say there? You know what? If you need an excuse, you can say, hey, this guy on the internet told me I have to go do this. And your family will completely understand.
I've been threatened by a random person on the internet.
Right. So, if you need an excuse, use me. I told you that all the time.
Excuse.
I was just scrolling through the event a couple of days ago, looking at the Will Attends and going, oh, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people from our weekly chats and things at the events. It'll be fun.
Brian would like you to say he doesn't have to work tomorrow, Chris.
Oh, certainly. Brian and Brian's boss, he doesn't have to work tomorrow. And in fact, for the weekend of the Tri-Cities, he needs that Thursday and Friday off.
Absolutely, yeah.
There you go.
Just
Keats contributes.
Take that section out and send it to your boss. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. You're now pardoned. Keats shares that he's never been to that part of Washington at all. But his streak of not being there will continue this year. But he's looking forward to next year. So there you go.
Next year.
Wet Coaster shares that they are off for their hashtag geocache road trip on Saturday. See us all in a few weeks. Excellent. Well,
Nice.
Safe travels, Wet Coaster.
It seems like quite the road trip to see in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
I'm jealous.
All right. Good stuff. Dora Moore has a fatas. She says, I'm going for 5 T5 caches tomorrow. Wow. Anyone want to place bets on whether or not I fall in the lake? It's only happened once before. The second time it was a river. Well, there you go.
So if I do the math,
Yes.
that's a T25 cache, right? I know my algebra.
If there were one cache, yes, it would be.
Okay.
It's like a multiplier, like Olympic diving.
It's a 5-star difficulty. Wow. 5 T5 caches. Now, Doramore, are you going to be on a lake, in a boat, near the shore, any of that? Because that really changes the odds of you falling in.
In a boat with a goat. I guess we'll find out.
Could you with a goat?
That's right.
Doramore wants to know if Brylang will come and fall in the lake with them.
Funny stuff. What Coaster shares that where they're going on their hashtag geocache road trip is they are flying to England and spending 10 days on Guernsey, a Channel Island. Very fun.
Doramore says on a lake. The caches are all named in a lake, though.
Mhm.
So yes, Doramore, you're gonna get wet this weekend.
Doesn't sound promising, does it?
Makes me worry I'll end up in the lake with them.
Bring some dry clothes with you.
Indeed.
Somehow Brylang does different math. We're gonna have to run this by Limax and see if this adds up. But a T5 times 5 equals T3125.
Okay.
Isn't that one of the old Tandy computers?
It could very well
Is
be.
that 5 to the 5th power? I don't know.
What's going on? Has something changed in the menu? I don't see the ability to filter for the hashtag FATASs anymore.
Oh, because we've gone through them all.
Oh, we don't have anything else starred. That's why. Okay.
Did.
So, okay.
And
So I
that's
didn't do
it.
anything.
That's it. We've done everything. We've checked all the boxes, crossed all the T's, dotted our I's. And folks,
We did
with
it.
that, and until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.